On January 20th and 21st, 2025, President Donald Trump issued executive orders that sent shockwaves through the American workforce. These orders took aim at diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI programs, labeling them as harmful and unlawful. Trump's administration wasted no time in branding DEI as a radical, immoral, and wasteful use of resources. The message was clear: DEI in the eyes of the White House was now the enemy. These executive orders weren't just strongly worded suggestions, they came with teeth. Federal agencies were directed to immediately cease all DEI-related activities, effectively halting years of progress in building more inclusive workplaces. The orders demanded swift action, requiring agencies to submit detailed plans for dismantling their DEI offices and laying off staff by the end of January. This attack on DEI wasn't limited to the halls of government. While the executive orders directly targeted federal agencies, their reach extended to the private sector. Trump's administration made it clear that they expected businesses to fall in line, urging them to abandon DEI practices deemed discriminatory. The message was clear: toe the line on DEI or face the consequences. The impact of Trump's executive orders on federal workplaces was immediate and severe. DEI offices, once bustling hubs of activity, were effectively shut down. Staff members dedicated to fostering inclusive work environments found themselves facing an uncertain future, with many handed pink slips and shown the door. The administration's message was clear: DEI was no longer a priority. The dismantling of DEI infrastructure within the federal government sent a chilling message to civil servants. Years of progress in building a more diverse and inclusive workforce were seemingly erased overnight. The executive orders left many feeling demoralized and uncertain about their future in public service. The administration's actions raised serious concerns about the commitment to equal opportunity in the federal government. The impact of these orders went beyond the immediate loss of jobs and resources. They also had a profound impact on the morale of federal employees, particularly those from marginalized communities. Many felt that their contributions were no longer valued, and that their voices were being silenced. The administration's actions created a climate of fear and uncertainty, leaving many wondering if the federal government was still committed to representing all Americans. While the executive orders directly targeted the federal government, their ripple effects were felt throughout the private sector. Some corporations, particularly those with a history of prioritizing profit over social responsibility, were quick to fall in line. They scaled back their DEI initiatives, citing compliance with the administration's directives and a desire to avoid potential legal challenges. However, not all companies were so quick to abandon their commitment to diversity and inclusion. Many businesses, particularly those with a strong track record of social responsibility, pushed back against the administration's overreach. They doubled down on their DEI efforts, viewing them as essential to attracting and retaining top talent and reflecting the diversity of their customer base. This divide in the private sector highlighted the complex and often contentious relationship between business and social responsibility. While some companies prioritize profits above all else, others recognize the value of a diverse and inclusive workforce. The administration's attempts to strong-arm the private sector into abandoning DEI revealed the limits of executive power in the face of corporate resistance. Central to Trump's attack on DEI was a calculated reframing of discrimination itself. The administration cleverly turned the tables, alleging that DEI programs were inherently discriminatory. They argued that by prioritizing diversity over what they termed individual merit, these programs were actually disadvantaging certain groups, particularly white men. This argument, while superficially appealing to some, ignored the systemic inequalities that DEI initiatives were designed to address. It painted a picture of a level playing field where everyone had an equal shot at success, ignoring the historical and ongoing discrimination faced by marginalized communities. The administration's rhetoric served to pit groups against each other, undermining the very principles of fairness and equality that DEI sought to promote. By redefining discrimination, the Trump administration aimed to dismantle the very structures designed to combat it. This tactic, while cynical, was not without its effectiveness. It sowed division and confusion, making it more difficult to have honest conversations about race, gender, and equality in the workplace. The administration's actions demonstrated a blatant disregard for the lived experiences of marginalized communities and the systemic barriers they continue to face.